My name is Jolisa Hilario. I'm from the Bronx, New York. I'm 20 years old. My majors are public relations and economics, and I am Dominican.
I identify myself as like a woman, Latina, Chicana, and just like an American, I guess.
I identify as Guatemalan.
Any other identities?
And American.
My identity is Dominican, just Dominican. I don't consider myself American or Hispanic. I either consider myself Dominican or Latino.
I knew Spanish. I interacted a lot with Dominicans. And then when I became about 12, I went to a boarding school in Georgia. And there were no Latinos in my school. I was the only one. Well, at one point there were two Latinas. Anyways, so for me, that I mostly didn't. I felt sort of like, I'm not gonna say a token, but because I was the only Latin person people knew at the school, like it kind of became my thing. Even though personally, I don't feel like I fit into any Latin stereotypes that they may have had or felt.
It's weird. I was adopted, so my parents are actually American. They're Caucasian. And so I've grown up in a very American, traditional culture, I guess. But I still identify with my Guatemalan roots because I feel that that's still a part of me. I don't speak Spanish, but there are other parts of being Latino or Latina that I still identify with.
I was born and raised in New York City. When I was 15, I moved to New Jersey for the school year just because my mother couldn't afford Catholic school anymore in the city and she didn't want to send me to a public school in New York City just because inner city education, it's not the best. And so I moved to a neighborhood where it was predominantly white, and I was the only person in the entire school of color. One of the other people, well, I would say four different people. It was four people of color. Me, myself, my cousin, and two other girls who moved from an inner school, a school from Patterson, I think it was, and then one other girl who was a friend of mine. And I was one of the darkest people in the entire school.
Like, I never tell people right off the bat that my mom's white. Like, I just say, like, oh, I'm Mexican American. Like, I guess I just identify more with that because I grew up with my dad's grandparents, so I was always around, like, the culture, like, and, like, his family and stuff like that. So, to me, like, when someone says that I'm, like, only half, like, Mexican or I'm not Mexican, I'm white, like, it kind of offends me, I guess, because I never really, like, identified with my mom's side of, like, the family and, like, her traditions and her backgrounds, because we mostly, like, just focus on, like, Mexican traditions, I suppose.
And I get really weirdly self-conscious about my Spanish whenever I'm like traveling or like talking to my family members because I don't practice it as much away from home.
You know, there are other times when someone will just start speaking Spanish to me, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. That kind of raises my consciousness of, you know, being Latina or not having all of the parts of like a Latino background.
I would say sometimes I feel like people don't think that I'm as, like, authentic or Mexican or Latina because I don't speak Spanish. So I feel like if you don't, then you're kind of looked down upon in the community.
I'm a little different just because of the fact where I don't want to speak Spanish just to speak it. I want to speak Spanish in a business setting so I can grow and I can really show people that a Latina woman or Latino can speak Spanish properly.
Well, I feel like I have kind of a bit of two worlds. I definitely, I guess, connect more with the traditional American culture because I just don't have any relatives or anyone who has immersed me in Latino culture. But I know that just, being Latina, I have pride in that. And so in that way, I have that, I guess.